Morning everyone, into the next week now, Monday morning. Huge thanks to you guys for following along and the positive comments that we've had on the previous YouTube video. It's always a bit worrying, isn't it, when you start showing the welding work. I think everyone's got a different opinion of how it should be done, but to be fair, we've had some really nice comments. And also, I've been having a think over the weekend about where we want to take the channel. Obviously, I'm trying to build up the YouTube channel as much as possible. It's all very well when you've got a project in like this, which a lot of you guys are following along with, but I think in the interests of trying to push the channel forwards and keep things going, especially after this one's left us, I'm going to start showing you a little bit more of what we've got going on in the shop as well. I'm not going to show things like this so much. This is just your typical repair work and scrapes and scuffs, things like this. We'll try and keep things focused on the bigger projects, I think, which we have plenty on as well. And on that basis, this one will be one of the next ones in for us. Relatively straightforward job, actually. I won't say too much about it. You can probably see on the camera there. It's been to a couple of different body shops in the past, I believe, and it's several different shades of white. I don't know how well it shows on the camera, but a bit of bodge work going on with the side skirts and stuff as well. So customers kindly provided a brand new set of side skirts and all the clips and trim fastenings, everything. So this will be a full glass out, external respray only, not including the black parts, which are good. But yeah, we'll get this looking really nice and fresh again and show ready for him. The van, that's the first time that's moved in about 4 months or so. That was the Christmas project for me. It is one of mine. It's just not happened. Ran out of time with all the best intent in the world. Just didn't happen. But the plan for this one is MSRT kit, front bumper, wheels, side skirts, rear bumper, spoiler, the lot. Got it all waiting to go. I was always planning on selling it, but I'm in two minds now. We might well be painting it the same colour as the car and having it as another business vehicle. It's been a couple of times when it would have been useful, but we'll see. It might be a company vehicle for us. I think it would look the part with the MSRT kit painted the same as the car. See what we decide to do with that in any case. Yeah, I think we're going to dive into Project 2000 now. We've got a fairly decent week blocked out for that one now, actually. So hopefully we'll be able to get some really good progress on that for you this week. So what we're doing here is just going around the car with a wet-on-wet epoxy. The old school way of thinking was always to put filler directly over the top of prepared bare metal. That actually causes some issues in itself, in that when the filler cures, it creates heat, and with that heat comes moisture. Obviously moisture straight on the top of a bare metal panel, you can then several years down the line have some surface rust occurring just because of that filler. Starts pushing the filler up, which is actually what happened with this car in a few places. Starts pushing the filler up, and then that is later on down the line visible through the paintwork. So what we do nowadays is always seal the bare metal with an epoxy, and that gives us corrosion resistance. And it's also a wet-on-wet epoxy, which means that we can go straight on with our filler 20 minutes after flash off, no sanding necessary. Filler just goes straight over the top of this epoxy. Okay, so that's our rough mask done, just ready for the next stage, which is going to be going into the epoxy that I talked about before. Like I said, we try to avoid putting filler over any bare metal areas at all, so epoxy loaded up in the mini jet. Just going to go over the bare metal areas now before spray poly. So we've got a 1 hour flash time on the epoxy just before I can put any filler on top of it. So I've come and made a bit of a start on this one. Side skirts are off. They were just bodged on with sealant like we thought. Clips weren't really doing anything. A lot of sealant in there. But they're off. And the customer's got brand new ones to go back on there anyway, so that's absolutely fantastic. We'll tidy up all that remaining seal before going any further. Really hot day today as well, so shutters down, inside lights on for once. And I'll take a look at this exhaust as well. New exhaust for the customer, titanium system he's had made. Look at that, isn't it? It's lovely, really nice. But yeah, thought we'd make a bit of a start on this one whilst we've got flash time on the other car. I think that's almost at an end now, so we'll go back into the booth now and get some poly on it. Alright, so a bit of a milestone for Project 2000. We are into spray poly, which essentially means we have finished the main bodywork repair on this car. So it's just finishing touches now. Final sanding and everything to get all the swage lines and everything lining up as nicely as they can. Ever so slightly patchy in certain areas at the moment. That's exactly how it's meant to be at this stage. Probably can't even see it on the camera. But that's just because there's so many different substrates that the poly's just gone over. So it's going over old paint, epoxy, it's going over old primers, different fillers, all sorts. So it reacts ever so slightly differently to certain substrates. But yeah, nothing to worry about. That's exactly how it's meant to be at this stage. That's actually the exact reason why we're using it, to give us one nice uniform basis to start continuing the work with. Next stage after this then is going to be sanding all of that down, 180 on a long block to tidy everything up, get it all as straight as possible, like I said, and then it's going to go into another layer of epoxy. So we've basically got an epoxy layer to start with, all of our filler work, which is porous, on top of that, and then another epoxy layer, isolator layer on top of that before our high build. So we're basically sandwiching in all of our porous filler work in between two waterproof membranes to keep this car looking as brand new as we possibly can for many years to come, hopefully. Yeah, I think that's where I'm going to leave you guys for this week then. And more bodywork prep and everything to come in next week's video. Catch you guys then.